Have you ever looked around and wondered why no one else seems to notice what's really happening? It's like you can see beyond the surface, reading people, situations, even silence, while everyone else just smiles and carries on. If that feels familiar, there's a reason. You don't just see the world, you decode it. And that's not just rare, it's dangerous. Sigma males think differently. They spot patterns others overlook. They pick up on subtle shifts in energy most would dismiss as nothing. They question what everyone else accepts without a second thought. Because of that, they often exist between two worlds, one that's comfortably asleep, and one that's painfully awake. This isn't a trend or a phase, it's what happens when your mind refuses to settle for easy answers. It's the cost of clarity, the risk of true independence, and the loneliness that comes with knowing too much. People won't always understand you. They may push you away, label you as too intense, too quiet, too distant. In reality, you're simply focused on truths they've never even considered. Here's the truth, your vision isn't a flaw. It's a weapon. A mirror. A map. You weren't built to blend in, you were made to stand apart, because you see what others can't. Yes, that sight comes with isolation. But it also comes with something most will never have, freedom. So if you've ever felt like an outsider, it's not because you're broken. It's because you're awake. Stay that way. Let's begin. Number 1, clarity becomes a curse when surrounded by the blind. Have you ever tried telling someone a truth they weren't ready to face? Maybe you warned a friend their relationship was toxic, or called out the fake smile of a coworker who was hiding something. What happened next? Silence. A defensive glare. Or worse, they turned on you. That's the reality when you notice what others choose to ignore. Sigma males live in this territory every single day. They walk into a room and instantly sense when someone's lying to themselves. They feel the tension no one dares to speak about. They see the desperate overcompensation, and the quiet resentment hidden behind polite small talk. But here's the problem, most people don't want to be seen that clearly. They want surface-level comfort, not raw, unfiltered truth. So when a Sigma speaks up, he becomes the problem. Not because he's wrong, but because his clarity exposes what they'd rather keep buried. It's like being the only one with perfect vision in a room full of blurred eyes. You describe what you see with precision, but they don't believe you, because they can't see it themselves. They cling to the distorted picture they've trusted for years. Imagine sitting at a family dinner where everyone's pretending everything is fine, but you can feel the emotional distance like a cold wind. You're not guessing. You're not imagining. You're seeing. And when you call it out, they act like you brought the tension, when the truth is, you simply refuse to join the lie. That's the curse of clarity, it creates distance. But it also sets you free. You don't live in denial, you live in truth. And that's not weakness. It's a rare form of strength most will never have. Number 2, they call it paranoia. When you're just early. Have you ever warned someone about a danger before it happened, only for them to laugh it off as overthinking? Then weeks or months later, everything you predicted unfolds exactly as you said, and suddenly, no one remembers doubting you. That's life for someone who sees things early. And for Sigma males, it's almost daily reality. When a Sigma points out a red flag in someone's behavior, people call him negative. When he questions a decision everyone else is cheering for, they say he's afraid of change. But the truth is, he's not paranoid, he's precise. He's connecting dots most people don't even know are there. Picture this, a new person joins the workplace. They say all the right things, charm the boss, and act like a perfect teammate. Everyone's impressed. But the Sigma notices something, a look, a tone, a subtle pattern in how they speak about others. He senses the shadow behind the smile and says, "Watch this person." People laugh. Months pass. That same person becomes the source of office drama and betrayal. It's the same in friendships, business deals, and even in cultural trends. When Sigmas speak up too early, they get labeled as suspicious, difficult, or cynical. But they're not guessing, they're observing, analyzing, and reading the unwritten signs long before anyone else knows a storm is coming. Society loves people who go with the flow. Someone who sees too much, too soon, disrupts the comfort of the illusion. And when that happens, they mock it. They call it paranoia. But the Sigma is not paranoid, he's simply early. And when the truth finally arrives for everyone else, the Sigma is already 3 steps ahead, walking calmly through a storm he saw forming long before the first thunder rolled. Number 3, they see through people, not just around them. Ever had someone smile at you, but deep down you knew something was off? Most people shrug it off and move on. But not a Sigma male. He doesn't stop at the smile. He notices the timing, the way the eyes don't match, the subtle shift in tone when certain names come up. He catches what others miss because he's not just listening, he's decoding. Sigma males don't rely on surface impressions to understand people. They watch how someone behaves when they're not the center of attention. They pay attention to the things unsaid, to the pauses between words, while everyone else is distracted by charm and charisma. The Sigma is studying the cracks. And once he sees the truth behind the mask, he can't unsee it. Picture someone in a group trying too hard to be likable. Everyone else is laughing, nodding, fully engaged. But the Sigma is watching their body language, how they dominate the conversation, the subtle jabs disguised as jokes, the restless tapping under the table. Others see entertainment. The Sigma sees control disguised as connection. This is why some people feel exposed around him. He doesn't have to say anything out loud, the feeling of being seen that clearly makes them uneasy. His awareness can feel like pressure. Even in silence, he knows when you're lying to yourself. He sees when your words and actions don't align. And because of that, some avoid him altogether. But this isn't about judgment, it's about reality. Sigma males don't look away just because the truth is uncomfortable. They don't just look around people, they look through them. Number 4, their insight threatens control systems. Ever notice how some people make others uncomfortable without saying much at all? It's not because they're loud or disruptive, it's because they don't fall in line. They don't nod when everyone else nods. They don't join in just because it's popular. That's the Sigma male. His quiet refusal to play by the rules makes him a problem in any environment built on control. Most systems in life, schools, workplaces, even friend groups, run on unspoken rules. Follow the script, don't question the process, smile at the right time, laugh when expected. Then the Sigma shows up. Watching. Questioning. Refusing to play along for the sake of acceptance. He's not rebelling for attention, he just sees too clearly to pretend. In a workplace, he's the one who spots the real power players behind the scenes while others waste energy trying to impress the wrong people. In a classroom, he's the one who asks the question that makes the teacher pause and rethink the lesson plan. This awareness, this quiet refusal to be molded, rattles the system. And systems rarely attack people like this head-on. Instead, they isolate them. They label them as difficult, uncooperative, antisocial. Not because they're wrong, but because they can't be controlled. And that makes them dangerous. Not loud, not aggressive, just unshakably independent. It's not about being smarter than everyone else. It's about seeing the gears turning behind the curtain and refusing to be a puppet. While others are focused on fitting in, the Sigma is focused on truth. And in systems that survive on blind loyalty, someone who sees too much will always be a threat. Here's the thing, you can't control what you don't understand. And the Sigma? He's built in a way that no control system was ever designed to handle. Number 5, they don't just hear words, they decode intent. Ever had a conversation where the words sounded fine, polite, even, but something beneath them made you pause? That's the kind of moment Sigma males pick up instantly. Most people just hear what's being said. The Sigma listens for why it's being said. He tunes into the pauses, the hesitation, the slip in tone, the way the body shifts at certain moments. To him, words are just the surface. What matters is the motive hiding underneath. This isn't just being a good listener, this is decoding. You could compliment him with a smile, but he'll still catch the faint trace of sarcasm in your tone. You could say, "It's fine," and he'll hear the disappointment behind it. If you pretend to be supportive, he'll notice how your eyes keep scanning the room or how your posture subtly pulls away. The words might say yes, but everything else says no. It shows up everywhere. A manager praises someone's work right after pointing out a mistake. The Sigma hears the praise, but he also knows it's not real support, just damage control. Or someone asks about your day while scrolling their phone, he catches that too. It's not suspicion. It's awareness. And this level of attention can be exhausting, like living life with the volume turned up on signals no one else even notices. While others lose themselves in small talk, Sigmas are tracking unspoken tension, hidden motives, and emotional shifts most people overlook. It's not a superpower, it's a burden. But it's also why Sigma males rarely get fooled. Not because they're lucky, but because they've learned to listen with more than just their ears. Number 6, they can't unsee what they've seen. Have you ever learned the truth about someone or something, and from that moment on, everything looked different? No matter how much you wanted to, you couldn't go back to the way things were. That's life for a Sigma male. Once he sees the truth, there's no unseeing it. No pretending. No rewinding the tape. He notices what others miss, a friend's hidden motive, a system built on control instead of fairness, a relationship that looks fine on the surface but is quietly falling apart underneath. Once the Sigma catches it, his mind stores it like a permanent snapshot. And from that moment on, his perception of that person or situation changes completely. If someone he trusts slips and reveals dishonesty or quiet envy, the Sigma won't explode or start a fight. But he won't forget either, because now he's seen the mask come off, even for a second. and that second was enough. If he spots how a workplace or organization operates in ways that benefit only a select few while pretending to serve everyone, he won't shrug it off. That truth will shape how he interacts from then on. He'll be more guarded, more selective, less willing to give his energy to something he no longer respects. This isn't bitterness, it's awareness. Once you see what's really going on, going back to how you used to think feels like lying to yourself. And Sigma males don't live in illusions. They carry truth like a quiet weight, not because they want to, but because their mind refuses to ignore what it already knows. That's the cost of clear vision. You lose the comfort of ignorance, but you gain the power of never being fooled the same way again. Number 7, they spot power disguised as morality. Ever heard someone say, "It's for your own good," and immediately felt that something wasn't right? Maybe it was a boss enforcing a policy that clearly favored management, or a friend offering advice that sounded caring but carried a subtle edge of control. Most people hear those words and take them at face value. Sigma males don't. They pause. They examine. And more often than not, they see the truth hiding in plain sight, control dressed up as kindness, power wrapped in moral language. It's everywhere. A company rolls out a new rule claiming it's for team unity, but the Sigma notices it actually restricts individual freedom. A social circle decides who's in and who's out to protect the vibe, but it's really about keeping certain people in charge. The words feel noble, the packaging is polished, but the Sigma sees straight through it. Even in small, everyday situations, the pattern is clear. Someone says, "I'm just trying to help you," but it's obvious they're steering you toward something that benefits them. Or a person speaks up for a cause but somehow gains more attention or influence every single time they do. Sigma males spot this instantly. They don't get swept away by emotion or charm. They watch outcomes. They track who gains from the situation. And when the pieces don't match the story, they don't pretend otherwise just to keep the peace. This makes people uneasy, not because the Sigma is loud, but because he notices the parts they hope no one will see. He recognizes when morality is a tactic, not a truth. That insight makes him hard to mislead, harder to lead, and nearly impossible to control. In a world that thrives on blind obedience, that makes him dangerous, in all the right ways. Number 8, they unsettle without saying a word. Have you ever been in a room where everyone's working too hard to impress, forced laughs, empty compliments, people nodding along just to blend in? Then someone walks in, sits down quietly, and suddenly the atmosphere shifts. That's the Sigma effect. It's not about arrogance, it's about presence. Sigma males carry a stillness, a calm awareness that makes others second-guess themselves. They don't interrupt. They don't dominate the conversation. But the way they listen, watch, and remain unreadable makes people uneasy, especially in environments built on pretense. In group settings, most people follow the script, say the safe thing, avoid standing out, go with the flow. The Sigma ignores the script entirely. He observes. He notices when the room is in performance mode. And that's exactly why he's unsettling, because people start to wonder, what does he see, or why isn't he reacting like us? Picture a meeting where everyone's nodding at a bad idea just to avoid conflict. The Sigma doesn't roll his eyes or mutter under his breath, he stays focused and silent. That silence is louder than any argument. It tells people he's not fooled, without him saying a single word. It happens in social situations, too. At a gathering, while others gossip or compete for attention, the Sigma remains still, quietly observing. Suddenly, the energy shifts. The act begins to crumble because the presence of someone who isn't playing along exposes the truth beneath the performance. This is why Sigma males are often misunderstood. They don't break the illusion by shouting over it, they break it by not needing it. And when you don't play the game, people don't know how to read you. They get uncomfortable, because silence, when paired with awareness, can be more powerful than anything said out loud. Number 9, they sense the storm before the first drop falls. Ever had that uncanny feeling something was about to go wrong before there was any real sign? You couldn't explain it, you just knew. That's not luck or paranoia. For Sigma males, it's a normal Tuesday. They don't guess, they observe. They notice the small details others miss and trust the quiet signals their instincts are picking up. While most people are distracted by the noise, the Sigma tracks patterns. He hears the sudden shift in someone's tone. He feels the change in a room's atmosphere. He notices what's repeated too often, and what's being carefully avoided. And because he stays emotionally detached, he sees the truth without getting caught in the drama. A friend might say, "I'm fine," but their eyes avoid contact, their replies grow shorter, and their smile doesn't reach their eyes. Most people would shrug it off. The Sigma sees the clouds gathering. In the workplace, others might celebrate a new manager, while the Sigma quietly notes small but telling shifts, subtle changes in policy, a different choice of words in meetings, quiet power moves. He already knows the crash is coming, the fallout is just a matter of time. This foresight unnerves people, not because the Sigma is wrong, but because no one likes their comfortable illusion shattered. Most would rather believe the surface story. And when he speaks up, they call him negative or paranoid. But when the truth arrives, the betrayal, the collapse, the shift, he's already adjusted. It's not magic. It's awareness. And while others are blindsided, the Sigma is already standing on higher ground, calmly watching the wave before it hits shore. Number 10, they intimidate leaders who rule by illusion. Some people thrive on control. Their power comes from charm, polished words, and carefully managed appearances. They don't lead through example, they lead through performance. They expect obedience, admiration, and silence. Then a Sigma male walks in. Quiet. Unreadable. Unimpressed. And the performance starts to crack. You can't win over a Sigma with status or flattery. You can't guilt-trip him into compliance. And you definitely can't manipulate him through fear. This makes him dangerous to anyone who relies on deception to stay in charge. A manipulative boss might reward blind obedience with praise. Most people eat it up. The Sigma nods politely and keeps doing what's right, not what earns points. A self-appointed moral authority might try to dominate conversations, talk the loudest, and set the tone for everyone else. The Sigma stays silent, watching. He sees through the act. And suddenly that leader doesn't feel so in control anymore. The Sigma isn't trying to challenge them, his very presence does it. Fake leaders survive on being admired, not questioned. When faced with someone they can't control, they either try to push him out, or resent him from a distance. The truth is, what scares them isn't his voice, it's his independence. His silence is louder than their speeches. His honesty slices through their image. He doesn't join cliques or play politics, and that makes him untouchable. If you can't be fooled, you can't be used. Number 11, the mirror people want to break. Some people don't need to speak to make you feel exposed. That's the Sigma male. Not because he's judging, but because his calm presence strips away the noise. People hide behind loud opinions, fake confidence, and constant distractions. It works, until they meet someone who refuses to play the game. The Sigma's silence makes them aware of the gap between who they pretend to be and who they really are. That alone can spark irritation, even hostility. He never attacks. He simply reflects. But for some, that reflection is unbearable, so they lash out at him, not the truth. Number 12, awake with no way back. Once you see the truth, you can't unsee it, and Sigma males live there every day. They notice the manipulation behind politeness, the control hidden in kindness, the games people play to keep others small. Friendships change when they spot subtle jealousy or quiet resentment. They'll still show up, but the connection won't be the same. Being awake isn't easy, it's heavy, and it's often lonely. But it's also freedom. Once you stop believing the illusion, no one can control you. Final words. What do you do when you see the truth too clearly, in a world that prefers the blur? When you notice what's coming before it arrives? When you hear the fear behind the charm, or the weakness behind the ego? For Sigma males, that's daily life. They don't reject the world because they can't connect, they reject pretending. And while this may set them apart, it also protects them from being used, lied to, or controlled. Clarity comes with a cost. You'll be misunderstood. You'll walk alone at times. But you're not lost, you're ahead. Trust your instincts. Stand your ground. Never apologize for seeing what others don't. Because in a noisy world, those who see clearly lead quietly, powerfully, and without fear.